Today's redstone video is going to be quite interesting and also fairly fast paced because I'm going to be showing you 10 redstone builds that you can build in about a minute. Now this is of course subject to you having the correct materials and also being incredibly quick with your hands, but I definitely think that all of them are possible. The first design that we're going to be taking a look at in today's redstone video is this slime block launcher station that is completely hidden away in the floor. To get things started, we want to place a block in the middle of our 3x4 area, then 2 redstone torches, regular pistons facing upwards on top of those redstone torches with a sticky piston in the center and a slime block on its face. So all of those make their way around just like that. Then we're going to have a sticky piston facing across like this. That's actually going to be retracting our block. Then we're going to have redstone dust here, redstone dust on top of this block. We're going to have a block up like this, an upside down slab with a repeater set to 3 ticks. Then next to this sticky piston, we are going to have our observer. Now on the side of this block, we're going to have ourselves a redstone torch that will extend all the remaining pistons. Then we're going to have a block right here. This area is going to be our wall, and this area here is going to be our floor. Our button is going to go on that block right there, and we're going to have a redstone torch like this with a block and some redstone dust right there that is going to be extending that piston. So if we grab ourselves a button and give it a press, you can see that the system is now working and we have ourselves an active slime block launcher that hides itself away. That's pretty cool. The second contraption of today's video is known in the redstone community as a red coder, but I think that's a fairly uninteresting and boring name. What I like to call this is an item frame selector panel. As we go through the different orientations of the item in the item frame, you can see that the output through the redstone torches actually changes, which means that we can have a different thing happening depending on where your item is in the item frame. So this is handy for, well, all sorts of things really. You can have it with things like railway stations or perhaps different doors opening. I personally think it's pretty cool. And if we take a look at the redstone, you can see it's incredibly simple. All we've got is a comparator that's running out from the output of this item frame, and then that runs along like this and goes back into this block right here. Then we have a redstone torch powering this comparator that's in subtract mode. We have a bit of redstone going into the side of the comparator that powers the block and then runs back into the redstone. This thing is so simple that I don't even think it needs a block by block tutorial. You can build this easily. People always ask me down in the comment section of my Hermitcraft episodes how I create the storage silos that I've got in that world. Well, they look a little bit like this. As you can see, if we place an item on the inside here, this chest is filled up with items, and as they start backing up into this hopper, that redstone lamp turns on, and gradually the redstone lamps switch on the fuller your chests get. Now you'll be happy to hear that this is an incredibly simple build. All we have to do is build up a tower of chests, build up a tower of redstone lamps, then we need to build up a tower of hoppers out the back to create your bulk storage system where all of the items will filter down and gradually make their way up through the chests. Then we need to run a comparator output from the bottom hopper, run it into a block. That's plain and simple. And then we need to run a comparator from this one into a block, redstone dust there, and then a block up like this, a repeater on this block, and that is that hopper connected into that redstone lamp. Then you just repeat the process. So it's comparator and then block, and then if we had another chest and another hopper on top of this one, we would then repeat this system, and you just alternate all the way up to the top of your chest tower, and that will be it. Simple as. Here we have my hidden armory system. If we hit the button, you can see that all of the blocks pop up and they're completely flush with the floor, and then if we hit the button again, you can see that everything drops down and we can pop inside and grab ourselves a whole ton of cool items. Now of course, if you're actually using this as a hidden armory, you wouldn't have a button, you'd have some form of hidden activation device, and you'd also have some form of input on the inside so that you can actually make your way out nice and easily. But the concept is there and it's pretty cool. This is another one that is crazy simple. All we have to do is create a 2x2 area of a 2x2x2 area of sticky pistons, I guess, and then place blocks on top of all of those. We want repeaters set to 2 ticks, making their way right the way across here with redstone dust going all the way across there. We then want some blocks on either side, some redstone dust on either side of these, and then we're going to place observers, blocks on top of those, and then observers with blocks on top of those, and that will do it. So that is essentially a 2x2 area of double piston extenders that extend and retract from the floor, and they're completely flush as well. So you can see that is working perfectly. So now all you have to do is surround that space with chests, crafting benches, anvils, enchanting tables, ender chests, all the things that you'd like inside your hidden armory system so that you can be absolutely lethal once you drop down into it. You know, I think it's safe to say that there's nothing worse than placing a minecart on a minecart track and then watching it travel off thousands of blocks without you. I mean, it's painful. You know you're never going to see that minecart again. So that's why I would suggest building minecart catchers. As you can see, that minecart was caught by the system, but if we pop inside the minecart, we go through completely unhindered. It's as if there's no redstone here. That's the point. Of course, the first thing that you're going to need is actually a minecart track, and you have to create this little pyramid system which will allow us to actually catch the minecart. Now, on top of that pyramid, we're going to have ourselves a piece of string that's going to be detecting us. We're then going to have a bud switch, which is going to be detecting the string which detects us, and then underneath here, we are going to have ourselves 2 sticky pistons facing across with glass blocks on their faces so that we don't actually get injured by the system. And then we just have redstone dust right here, and then 2 blocks and redstone dust on either side, just like that. And that is everything. So every single time we interact with this string, you can see that the glass gets moved out the way, which means that if we grab ourselves a minecart, obviously the minecart doesn't interact with the string, so that doesn't set off the system. But if we're on the inside of the minecart, then we do, and we activate it. Hidden staircase systems are some of my personal favorites, and this is kind of like a hidden staircase system, but it's almost the opposite. It's actually a hidden entrance inside a staircase. You can see when we hit the button, those stairs that were originally there actually drop down, revealing a secret entrance. Or if you wanted to take another angle on it, then you could have that be your floor, and this could just be a system that pops up a 2-high staircase. Either way works, and either way looks pretty cool to me. Now, if we get the ball rolling with a 4x4 area, start off with double extenders, and then also some sticky pistons like this, then we can create an area a little bit like that. Then all we have to do is place in repeaters, set to 2 ticks, observers facing upwards with blocks on top. We then need redstone, which is going to be connecting up everything. We're going to have sticky pistons facing across with observers on their faces running into blocks like that. And that is all of the redstone completed for this entire design. It's a really, really simple one, despite almost, I mean, it doesn't look ridiculously complicated, but it does everything incredibly fast, and as you can see, is activated by a button. Of course, you could keep it as a button if you don't want it to be hidden, or you could use another form of hidden activation device, such as a redstone torch key or throwing an item on the floor. Really, the options are up to you, but you just have to run the input into that redstone line, and then you're sorted. Come on then, it wouldn't be a redstone video by me if I didn't involve some form of ender station or something like this. I personally absolutely love these things. Systems that give you a very satisfying exact stack. There it is, and 16. Now we can shoot around and, well, we'll probably kill ourselves, knowing me. I mean, I'm not particularly good with this stuff. Thankfully, I'm not too bad at actually building the redstone contraption. All we have to do is build a kind of O structure like this with a wooden button on the side. It has to be a wooden button because that has a slightly longer pulse length than a stone button. Then we want to place a redstone torch right here, create a big C going around like this with redstone dust there, a redstone torch here, and a redstone torch here, a repeater set to 3 ticks, and then redstone dust just like that. And then we want to grab ourselves 2 droppers, and I guess we should probably fill those things in with ender pearls. So if we just do this and do a little bit of this, then you can see I've got 1 stack of ender pearls in my inventory, but if we hit the button again, I will get my hands on another exact stack. And that's all the redstone. I mean, how could you not build these things everywhere? Moving swiftly on, we have got the button selector panel. Hit the button, and there we go. That has now been selected. Hit the button. Boom, that one's been selected. Hit the button again. Don't fancy that. It's been deselected. Hit this button, and deselected. We have the redstone lamps behind the buttons because it looks great. I absolutely love the way this thing looks. I will warn you though, this one is a bit of an expensive one. We want to place a line of blocks, then a line of redstone lamps, then a line of buttons. Now of course I'm only going to be doing 3 buttons, but you can have as many buttons as you like, extending off into the distance. But then behind those redstone lamps you want to place in a bunch of redstone torches, sticky pistons, observers facing across. Then we want to have sticky pistons facing downwards around about here. This is where things get pricey because now we need cauldrons and they need to be filled in with water. And then to detect these cauldrons, we want to have comparators running across into those blocks. That will give off the lamp signal, and then we also want comparators running out the back here so that we actually can take an output from this thing. So when we hit this button, you can see the redstone lamp is on, but also this comparator is switched on as well. So you're giving off a solid redstone output from that button. That's why the redstone lamp is on. And if we hit this button over here, you can see that, yeah, everything is working perfectly. The more you select, the more outputs you get. For those of you who watch my redstone videos a lot, you might recognize this design right here, because I actually featured it in my video where I was experimenting with redstone lamps earlier on this week. I was just messing around with it, and I ended up coming up with this really awesome design which allows us to hop straight into a minecart and get shot straight off, and then have another minecart dispensed straight after us. And it all looks really pretty because, let's face it, redstone lamps are gorgeous. I've got a bit of a head start on this one because this is all very simple. Dispenser, powered rail, regular rail, 2 powered rails or powered rails heading off into the distance. Then we need string next to a redstone lamp, and then we can actually start work on this thing. First thing you need is an observer off the back of the redstone lamp. We're going to have an upside down slab right here with some redstone dust, and then we're going to have that line of redstone running out and across like this, and then we're going to have a sticky piston facing across right here with a redstone block on its face. That's actually going to create a dual edge monostable circuit, and then we're going to have 2 observers running across like this. That's going to be running into this sticky piston right here, which is a bit of a tricky one to place, but then we're going to have a detector rail right there, and then off in this direction we're going to have another observer. We're going to have an observer facing downwards right here, then a sticky piston facing across just like that, and then another observer facing upwards, and we're going to have to remove this block. Right now your system is probably looking like this, and probably isn't working too well because that redstone line is actually powering the block, and you kind of don't want that to be happening. So all you have to do is replace your redstone block and then move this detector rail right here, and that should, in theory, do the trick. Now you need to make sure that this is actually in the correct location, so you actually want that observer to be underneath this area right here. But then if you fill in your dispenser and then grab yourself a minecart and then pop inside, you should see that is now all functioning. So we have got ourselves a working system. Now I know what you're thinking, where is design number 10? The answer is that I kind of feel a bit bad about this. I didn't build it in 1 minute. It took me probably about 1 minute and 30 seconds, maybe 2 minutes if I'm being honest. I guess I'll still show it to you. Here it is. Yeah, it took me, as I said, about 1 minute 45 seconds, I would say, to construct this one. Of course, I'm not going to do a tutorial on it because, you clicked on this video for 10 1-minute redstone builds, and it would feel a bit unfair, me taking up 1 minute 45 of your time on one of the redstone builds. So I think on that crippling disappointment, I do apologize, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to end. I hope that you enjoyed. If you did, please sure to that like button, and if you really loved it, then make sure to subscribe. But thanks for watching, guys. This has been Mumbo, and I'm out. I'll see you later. I mean, look at this. If I'm being honest, it might have taken me 3 minutes. Okay, keep that quiet.